Hi girls, these are the notes for today for General Maths Further. So we're looking at the mean and we're looking at the median and we're looking at the mode. The most important thing for you to understand today is that there are a couple of key things to help you learn. So remember to make notes, replay the video if you get stuck, and practice so that you understand what has been covered. Good luck and see you next lesson. Do that in class on Wednesday. What we're going to look at today is the mean, median and mode, and hopefully that's just a fair bit of revision for you from the last few years of doing maths. So let's get started, and probably a good idea is when you're making notes of this is pause the video to copy down the slide and then move on to the next one. The other way that you can do it too, if you'd prefer just to print them up, they will be attached to the homework task set on the internet as well. So they're the two ways that you can grab the notes. Okay, so the first one we're going to have a look at is the average, also known as the mean. Our symbol that we use and you'll use on your graphics calculator is this one here, the X with a line above it. Okay, what we're going to do is today we're not going to focus on using your graphics calculator, that will come later in the week, but we're going to calculate the mean manually. So you probably will remember from the last few years is if you want to calculate the mean is you just add up all the values. So you can see we've got our values here. You add them all up and you divide by how many results you've got. So you can see if you count these ones up here, we've actually got 7 results across here. Okay, so you add them all up and then divide by 7. You can do this on your graphics calculator. Just make sure that you actually select the fraction button. Okay, so that it's easy that you're not then inaccurately calculating it. So when you do that, so pause this presentation and calculate the result, and you should get a result of 7.286. While we're talking about the mean, it's also important that you understand a little bit about the mathematical terms that we use when we're calculating it. So you can see the X with a line above it, which is our math symbol for calculating the mean. And then in mathematical notation, how we write it is we add up all the values. So this here stands for sum. Okay, it's a Greek letter which you can see over here. And you add up all the values you've got. So the same as what we did before, 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8, etc., etc. And then we divide by the number of results we have. So the same thing again, we divide by 7. So you could write that out in words of how you calculate the mean, or you could use the math symbols to work it out. So this is just adding up all the results you've got and then dividing by the number of results you have. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So the median, you can probably remember from the past as well, is it's just the middle result. Okay, so both talk about the center of the data. The mean is by adding them all up and dividing by how many you've got. The median is calculating the middle result. So if we have a look at our first example here, we've got 7 results. And to calculate the median, our formula is we take the number of results, so 7 plus 1, and then we divide it by 2. So 7 plus 1 is 8. And if we divide it by 2, gives us a result of 4. So the fourth score in our data will be the median. Okay, so you can go across here and count across 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 7 is our middle or our median result. It is really important when you are doing this that you remember to write down or to put the data in order first from smallest to biggest, otherwise you'll get it wrong. Okay, so in our example here, our median is 7. Okay, so you can put 7 in here. The next example we look at, so this one was quite nice because if we have an odd number of results, the median is a specific result. The problem comes about though, what do we do if we've got an even number of results? Okay, so if you have a look here, we've got 8 results this time. So 8 plus 1 is 9. So 9 divided by 2 gives us 4.5. So what this actually means is our median is between our 4th and 5th result. So if you have a look at your data here and go across 1, 2, 3, 4, the median is going to sit in between these two here. I'm just going to straighten that up so you can see pretty easily. Okay, so that would mean that our median is halfway between our 7th and our 8th result. So you would say that our median is 7.5. Okay, so I'm just going to type that in. Alright, so they're the two ways that you can calculate the median, depending if you've got an even number of results or an odd number of results. The next thing we're having a look at is the mode. So you just need to remember that you have the definition that the mode is the most common result. So if you have a look at the results that are here, you can see that 7 is the most common result. So that's our mode. When we talk about groups of data in a moment, we talk about our modal category. So which group of results have the highest frequency. So moving on to group data, it's slightly different on how we calculate the mean and the median and the mode. So when we have results like this at a frequency table setup, can you see here that this is saying if we have results that are between 5 but less than 10, they fit in here, and there was 4 results that are like that. And obviously 10 less than 15, 15 less than 20, 20 less than 25. Okay, so they've given you the example here that the first midpoint is 7.5. So that's halfway between 5 and 10. What I'd like you to do is pause this for a moment and then write down the other midpoints. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this so you can see it. So if you've done your calculations, the midpoint is going to be 12.5, 17.5 and 22.5. Then the next step that we do, and it'll become clearer a little bit on the next page as to why we do that, is we work out the midpoint and we multiply it by the frequency. Okay, so if you pause it and do that as well, and then I'm just going to move it, you should have that there. Okay, and what I've done down the bottom here as well is done the total for the midpoint times the frequency. Alright, so I should just highlight too is cumulative frequency. We're going to go through in the next couple of lessons because that does relate to exercise 1C, which we haven't done yet. So just leave that blank for the moment. We'll come back and finish that off. We'll fix it up later. So if we're looking at mathematical notation, this notation here is it's the result, or in our case it was the midpoint times the frequency. Okay, and then we divide them by the total results that we have. So if I just flick back to the last slide for a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to add up all of these, which I've already done here, and then we're going to divide it by the total frequency, how many results we have, and that will give us the mean. So we take the total, that 417.5, and we divide it by 25, and that gives us an answer of 16.7. So the mean is 16.7. It's worthwhile noting when you're looking at that too, a mental check would be is your mean should be somewhere in the middle of your results. So if you get a mean of, let's say it's 167, okay, if we go back and have a look at our results, our age isn't up to 167, it's between 5 and less than 25. So if you get a result that doesn't make sense, go back and check your calculations. If we're talking about the median, we have 25 results, so 25 plus 1 is 26. So our middle result is our 13th score. Okay, so in your notes I'm just going to change it. That should be 25 plus 1. Okay, so, which gives us 13. If we, and I'm going to leave this line out at the moment, the cumulative frequency column. So if we're looking at our 13th result, we need to go back and look at our table of values. If we have a look here, can you see that we've got 4, then 5, then 7, then 9. So if I go down, and if you think about going from the smallest to the biggest, I've got 4 results, then another 5 makes 9. Then if I go add on another 7, that gives us 16. So if I'm after the 13th result, which is what we're looking at here, can you see that it's going to sit inside here? Because I know that here is 9 and less than 20 is 16. So that 13th result is going to sit in that group from 15 to 20. Okay, so I'm just going to move that so you can see. So we're looking at the group between 15 and 20. So the median class is 15 to 20. The last one we look at is the mode. So the most common age group. So if I'm just going to flick back so you can see it again. If we have a look which one has the highest frequency, can you see that this last one here has the highest frequency? So this group from 20 to 25 is what we call our modal group. Okay, so I'll just move that so you can see. So it's 20 to 25 and it has a frequency of 9. So it's called our modal group. Alright. And the last bit of notes for today's class is outliers. And we will do more of this when we get on to do box plots and stuff. But an outlier is a result that is quite different to the rest of results that you have. So if we have a look at our example here, can you see that they're all, you know, between 4 and 9, except for these two here. We've got 2 results that are 25. And we would consider these 2 results to be outliers because they're quite different to the other results. This will become more important when we're drawing box plots later, as you might remember from previous years. This blue box here is really important, and it's important for further maths, so I am going to remind you of it now, and you'll hear me talk about it again next year as well. If we have outliers in our data, and we're looking to measure the center of the data, so we could use the mean or the median, it is better to use the median as a measure of the center than the mean because it is less affected by outliers. Okay, so that's the notes for today. If you'd like to, make sure you do the questions that are set below here and then have a copy of the notes in your bound notebook as well. So good luck with all the questions today, and remember, if you need any help, make a note of them and we'll go through them in next class.